Welcome. Welcome to our weekly Thursday evening insightful conversations. Tonight is a very special night. We're having something a little different discussion, a very important discussion, healthy minds, healthy people, healthy planet. So I ask, is there a doctor in the house? Oh, there is a doctor. Hello, Sushai. Welcome. Boy, do we need healing, if you will, for mind, body, planet, you name it, right? Whoa. So timing couldn't be better. So we're having a very important conversation tonight about how our vibrations, our thoughts, which turn into actions, which turn into global actions, are they all interconnected? I think they are. So I just want to get right to it. First, we're going to have Jim Paymar, who is an Emmy-winning broadcaster, media coach, former CNBC anchor. I don't watch that show. With 25 years of experience in television, radio, and digital media. And he's interviewed top CEOs, trained Fortune 500 leaders, and held senior roles at PepsiCo. That too. And he will be interviewing Brother Golo, who is, I don't know if anyone, well, first I want to ask, I get to Brother Golo. Is anyone new here today? Is this your first time? Anyone first time in Harmony House? Well, welcome. Glad to have you. And Zoomers, hi, forgot to say hello to you. We also have Zoom online, and quite a few of you are on there, but should have been here. Okay, so Brother Golo, I got to hear him this morning. I'm very excited about this for so many reasons. But Brother Golo is a meditation teacher, a sustainability advocate, and environmental innovator. That's sure. Has traveled to over 75 countries, lecturing on spiritual and environmental topics. And he has a key role in the India One Solar Project. How many of you are familiar with that? Which, right, we'll hear more about it tonight. It's just incredible. And is a prominent speaker at UN climate conferences. So with that, I just want to bring them right up so they can get their full time. So welcome and thank you for the Golo here. Let's see. Oh, Stefan Marsko. Oh, here he comes. Hey, Jim, I think you're going to be interviewing me. Oh, Shanti. What? Oh, oh, tell us about your experience here. Are are you a student or are you an observer? Sure.
It's Rajo, the mind. But she said, if you would like to come in and we'll meditate. Okay. So I met a woman named Sister Chandruben, and had an instant connection with her in this meditation. I'd never meditated like she taught me how to meditate. And I saw her transform before my very eyes. She went from being a young woman, we were both younger then, we were 40 years younger than today. And she went from being a young woman to an old woman to an old man to totally white. And I thought, well, this is kind of cool. So I used to spend a lot of time at the Brahma Kumari Center in San Francisco. And unfortunately, Sister Chandrup has passed away. I've lost my spiritual friend. But I've been to many spiritual retreats up at Peace Village. You guys know where that is, up in the Catskills. And I've been to a spiritual retreat at the Oxford Center, and met Sister Janki many times, Dadi Janki, and know the sisters quite well. So I just stopped in the other day, it was a few weeks back, just to say hello to folks I might know, Eric, wherever Eric went, and Sister Anjani, and just to say hello. And they said, well, why don't you come and moderate this forum we're having on climate? And so here I am sitting here waiting for Brother Golo to appear. But if I can just kind of continue on my train of thought, since there's nothing else to do, there's no one to interview, which is okay. But I mean, there's a lot of nervousness today. There's a lot of anxiety today. There's a lot of fear today in society. Brother Golo was just telling me he was in New York, and he thought, you know, he didn't see any happy people. And there's Brother Golo now. So, and he was saying that I was telling them that your story about how when you were in New York today, you didn't see happy people. You saw people running around being anxious and nervous and a little petrified about all the changes that we're seeing in our politics, the gyrations in our stock market. No one knows what to think. No one knows what to do. And so we wanted to try and put that into context with how we might create a nexus between politics, climate change, and spirituality, so that we can move forward together and perhaps solve some of our major problems that confront our planet, which if we don't do something about it, there won't be any of us. So Brother Golo, I don't know if you want him to say anything to kick off, or if we should just.
Since you had a lovely opening and I learned a lot about you already, why don't you just introduce yourself? If I gave a brief bio, but perhaps you want to give a little introduction, and then we can dive right in.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. And thanks very much for the Brahma Kumaris to organize this evening about environment, what's going on, and a spiritual solution to the crisis we're facing. And I just came into from India, I think 24 hours ago. And it's a bit of a shock because India has a heat wave, very early heat wave with 42 degrees plus. And I came to New York, and I came out of the airport, it was ice cold. So it was a big dramatic change actually to arrive here. And I have put all my winter gear on to feel warm and comfortable. Yeah, I'm actually very glad we have this conversation today about the environment and what can be done, because many people are aware that the big change is happening right now in the world. And they're asking themselves what can be done, how can I position myself seeing this crisis which is unfolding. In India, I'm working since many years on solar energy. And we have a very ambitious program at the Brahma Kumaris, introducing renewable energy, reducing clean technology. We're having a multitude of projects, planting trees, building check dams, trying to inspire people, create awareness, and having a lot of projects and programs also with local community, but also with the scientific community and also with the universities in India. And I'm very glad I have this conversation today with Jim about the topic, and look forward that many good ideas and inspiration is coming out of that program.
Well, Brother Golem, maybe we can start by just getting your assessment of the ecosphere, our atmosphere, our planet, where we stand today. We've been hearing about the fact that if we surpass 1.5 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial times, that sustainability is going to be a major issue going forward. How do you view the world today and our environment?
Well, that's a very interesting question. And of course, many people are asking themselves, where are we right now in terms of climate change? And there are, sometimes we hear also contradicting ideas and contradicting opinions about the whole topic. And often people say, I don't want to hear it because it's such a big topic and they're talking since so many years. I first heard about climate change when I was pretty young in Germany, because we had something in Germany which was, we called it saure Regen, acid rain. German saure Regen, acid rain, and it affected our forests. And it was something very specific to Germany, because we had all these coal-based power stations in the Ruhr Valley, and these emissions, they caused the rain to become, has a high content of acidity. And that caused the roots of the trees and the forest to be damaged. And scientists found out that the forest is dying. So the Germans were very concerned about the forest. And it's 40 years ago, you know, at that time, nobody was talking about climate change. Then later in the 80s, 85, the Club of Rome was also there, warning in the 70s that we should change our lifestyle and all this. But these were all distance warnings. And, you know, it was like more people at the fringe which were talking about this topic. But then in the 80s, 90s, more and more reports came to the public about change of climate, and there are some trends which are not looking good, and some long-term measurements are indicating some changes going to happen. And it was rather vaguely, and there were some predictions being done, and then scientific community started to analyze, and they found out that it is connected to the emissions of the last 150 years. They're called the greenhouse gas emissions, and they linked climate change to human activity, basically to the burning of fossil fuels, which has increased dramatically since the Industrial Revolution. And they could link that by drilling the ice cores in the Antarctic, and they could find out very nicely how is the content of CO2 and how are the temperature variations connected to the content of CO2 in the atmosphere. So scientifically, with a lot of measurements and analyses, they could establish this link between CO2 in the atmosphere and the temperature. CO2 is going up, temperature is going up, CO2 is coming down, temperature is also going down. They all go parallel together. Now, for first time, humanity was growing and humans thought, okay, let us industrialize the world, let us burn trees, let us burn coal and oil. And CO2 is going up since the last 150 years constantly. And when the discussion on climate change started, we were about 350 parts per million. Now we are at 420 parts per million. And recently, we have crossed 1.5 degree temperature rise since the baseline, which is around the 1920s, 1930s. And we crossed now 1.5 degree increased temperature. Now, 1.5 degree doesn't sound too much, but the effects you all can see already in India, where the hottest January on record, where heat wave in Kerala and in South India recently. And when I left, it was 44 degrees in Ahmedabad. And there was a red heat alert for Gujarat and Rajasthan very, very early in the year. An Indian meteorological department is expecting the hottest summer in India on record, which is very bad because the summer is already, I can see many Indians in the audience, the summer is already very hot in India. And in United States, we can see also an increased number of droughts, heat waves, hurricanes, and extreme weather events. 2 weeks ago, the CEO of the one of the biggest insurance companies of the world, Allianz company, it's a German insurance company, I think the largest or second largest in the world, he issued a stern warning. He said the damage to climate change is taking such proportions that soon we won't be able to cover it any longer through insurance policy. And this should be a stern warning for the future of humanity. So we're in a very dramatic moment right now where we all already experience climate change. And part of the rise of the food prices is also due to climate change, because for farmers, the erratic weather which they are facing makes it more and more difficult to get a good yield and a good harvest. You just look up the price for coffee, and you see that coffee, the raw price of coffee has gone up dramatically because last 2 years have been a bad harvest. This is in many other areas also. So climate change is a dramatic reality and is affecting great areas of a great part of the human population already quite severely.
I just came back from Arizona. I have this little beard. I thought I would change things up a little bit for myself, and they've been in a drought for several years now. They're so dry, they're afraid that the cactus is not going to grow flowers and is going to collapse. Yeah. And I was just there. It is so bone dry. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 9 of the last 10 years are the hottest years on record that since record keeping began.
Well, in climate change, we have a lot of numbers, and we have a lot of records, and all indicators are indicating towards a dramatic shift of our global climate. It's not only the drought, which is everywhere in Germany. This spring, there's no rain right now, and the farmers are all crying because it's the main season to put the crops in the ground. And they don't know what to do because it's not raining since 2 months, which is extremely unusual in Germany. It should actually rain like anything. So all indicators are indicating for a dramatic change in global climate. And so it's not only the poor cactus, it's all over the world that the environment, the biodiversity, the animals also, they're really being affected. And also for us humans, it's a big challenge. For example, in India, they're now looking to develop so-called sponge cities, where they greenify the cities in order to create a green cover to keep down the temperatures in summer. So many people are wondering what's going on, and there are different ways how we react to the situation. What I always see as a positive effect of climate change is that this is a crisis which is bringing us all to think about our lifestyle, how we produce things, how we treat nature, and that it is also a chance for us for renewal and for change.
And when you talk about the heat, figures I read recently, 500,000 people die every year because of heat. And heat doesn't just cause things to dry out, it causes ferocity in the oceans, which spawns hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, The entire climate has somehow been deharmonized. And I'm just wondering, from a spiritual perspective, how we can get back into some kind of harmony. Do you see that occurring with all the political machinations that are going on around the world today, with the competition of countries? Do you see us somehow coming together as a world community to stop this before it's too late?
There have been, I'm since 20 years to the UN Climate Conference, which is the main body, I would say, globally, which deals with climate change, and all scientists around the world are coming together, politicians, activists, researchers, scientists, they all come together. And in Dubai 2 years ago, we were 100,000 people. In Baku last year, we were 60,000 people. And so the scientific evidence is there, but also science presents us also solutions for the climate change problem. So they lay out a future of what they call zero carbon, a net zero carbon future. It means that we gradually phase out the use of fossil fuels. We gradually introduce electric vehicles, gradually introduce renewable energies wherever possible, gradually insulate our buildings better, and so gradually move away from usage of fossil fuels, move away from energy inefficiency, and move away from waste, and slowly come towards a net zero. It means we also plant, for example, forests, which pull the carbon out of the atmosphere, and we come to a situation where our emissions are being absorbed by the ecosphere. That's called net zero. So we don't bring more CO2 in the atmosphere. We stop the trend, which has been unbroken, by the way, in the last 100 years, that the CO2 always is rising in the atmosphere, and thus driving also the temperature up. So countries have adopted strategies, and they have adopted master plans, and they have adopted goals when they would like to achieve this net zero. For example, India wants to achieve net zero by 2060 or 65. European Union wants to achieve net zero by 2050. And science worked out a pathway how we can bend the curve of these emissions and bring down the rising temperatures, flatten the curve and bring it slowly down. So we're coming back into cooler, more safe climate temperature bandwidth. So these plans are all there. The concepts are all there. And they have been published since the last 20 years. The problem is somehow they're not being adopted in a speed and in a manner which is adequate to the urgency of the climate crisis. There are certain delays. You know, politics is politics. Human beings are human beings. And to change the lifestyle and to change our mindset, which is behind a lot of the problems, you know, that seems to be the very, very big question. And interestingly, at the UN conference in the last years, there has been a rising movement of interfaith, of religious dialogue, and more interfaith organizations come together. All big religious movements in the world are coming together. They're sending their representatives. The Pope sends a nuncius, for example, to the climate conference. There are Protestants, there are the Catholics, there's from Islam, from Hindu, from Buddhist, from all religions, and Brahma Kumaris also. We are there. And since a couple of years, we have also a faith pavilion at the UN conference where all religions come together and discuss how we can preserve the creation of God, how we can preserve planet Earth from a religious or spiritual viewpoint. That's a very interesting idea and concept, because 70 to 80% of the world population are actually connected to a faith, you know. And when a religious leader says, hey, change your lifestyle, be aware of God's creation, our job is to protect and to heal, then people might listen more and maybe inclined more to change their lifestyle, as if it's a politician or a scientist saying that. So this is also some interesting change. And this gives also hope that we involve the mass of people and create also awareness among the masses of people. Just to give you an idea, there are 40 million religious buildings in the world, temples, mosques, churches, and so on. And if they would put, for example, solar on their rooftop, this would be fantastic. I just spoke to the sister today, and she said we have too many trees in front of the building, so we can't put a solar system here on top of the building. But for example, in India, at our campus in Mount Abu, we are just before I left, I had the kickoff meeting to install 700 kilowatt photovoltaic system. So our Gyan Sarovar campus, where I stay, where we can host 2,000 people and where we do a lot of programs, I hope within a couple of months we will be net zero. We plan to go 100% solar and run the whole campus 100% day and night on renewable energies. So there are a lot of positive initiatives and a lot of good people out there, also on the grassroots level, which are doing the right thing at the moment. This is also a sign of hope. We should never give up to do something good in facing such a huge crisis as the climate change crisis.
I believe that the ideas and thought process of how we can change the paradigm, we are aware that renewable energy is important. We are aware that reforestation is important. We are aware that becoming more vegetarian is important to stop the perpetuation of greenhouse gases. You've been to, I think, more than a dozen COP policy centers. Baku, Azerbaijan was the latest, COP29. Did you come away with it feeling that there was the political will to push the change that's necessary? Or did you come away feeling like there is not going to be any enforcement? I mean, the COP protocols, the Conference of Parties sponsored by the UN, cannot force the government of India, cannot force the government of America, cannot force the government of Russia to change its environmental policy. So how do we resolve the issue?
That's again a very interesting question. Actually, the climate conference is mandated by all its members, especially the climate conference, the UNFCCC, United Nations to Combat Climate Change, is mandated by its members to come together and find a solution to the climate crisis. And in 2015, the Paris Agreement has been signed by all the nations, which basically say the nations will try to stay below 1.5 degree temperature rise. And secondly, the nations will all come up with national determined targets, NDTs, to sort of indicate a pathway where each nation comes to net zero in a certain time frame. So that was all part of the finance of the Paris Agreement. And also it was agreed for certain finances to be provided to the poorer countries of the world to help them in the transition process. And that was adopted, that was signed. And in 2000, in Paris, then everybody thought, okay, now we got it, we sealed it, because a pathway has been agreed and so on. But however, then over the years, it became more and more clear that the tricky part is the details to implement that and bring it really into practice. And many countries realized one thing is to write on a paper, we reduce our emissions, but then to bring it into reality and really transform industries, transform transport sector, to transform lifestyle of the people, or even to introduce a vegetarian diet. You know, it's a much deeper issue than just a stroke of a pen of a contract, because you're dealing with the lifestyle of people, and basically you deal with the mindset of people. And the mindset of people is always connected to your inner world, to your habits, which have been grown over a long period of time. Basically, since your childhood, you have created your habits. And just to give you an idea, in Germany, the Green Party, they had the idea to introduce a vegetarian day. And there was such an outcry, you know, from so many different areas, also, of course, from the meat industry, but also from others, that cannot be done, and that blah, 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 blah. And so this idea disappeared in no time from the political agenda, because the parties realized such an idea it's very difficult to sort of introduce this to a society and make it mandatory. However, science is pretty clear. There has been a study by Oxford University published 5-6 years ago that within the next 20 years, the next 10-15 years, humanity has to go vegetarian, because meat production is one of the major producers of carbon emissions. And cows, they also produce a lot of methane gas, which is also 40 times more, much more potent driver of climate change. Is also one of the greenhouse gases, methane, much more potent than CO2. And so also in order to combat world hunger, it would be very important and essential to go vegetarian, because a vegetarian diet is much more efficient, and you can get much more yield from the land and from the resources, and you could combat global hunger much more easily if you produce the food directly for vegetarians and not go via meat and the animals and all this. So it's pretty clear we should do it. But to introduce that idea, there are so many blockages. And one of the main blockages is the mindset of people. And in order for people to change the mindset, a lot of things has to happen. And one is that, for example, a crisis is coming up and mounting up. And there comes a certain point when people are ready to really change their lifestyle. And we are in the process now that the climate crisis becomes so urgent and so dominant that very, very soon everybody will realize we really have to change our lifestyle, not a little bit, fundamentally. Because the Club of Rome told us 1972 that there are limits of growth. And if you look in mathematics, we have a limited planet with a limited ecosphere, but we have a philosophy, an economic model, which is saying produce more and more every year and use more and more resources, and we need economic growth perpetually. So if you do that in a mathematic formula, these two ideas, they collide at a certain point. And what we see now is a collision of these different ideas. You know, reality is we have an X amount of resources on the planet, and we have a paradigm of perpetual growth of economics. So these two ideas, they're colliding right now. And there's in science a model called the planetary boundaries. And the science has postulated about 15 or 80 major components on this planet, which we need to survive. And one is fresh water, one is ammonium, one is different chemicals and minerals. And in many, many areas, we are already in the red. We're already exhausted these resources on the planet Earth, or we are very, very close. And so the planet itself, Mother Earth itself, is showing us humanity, hey, humanity, wake up. Your lifestyle is not sustainable, but your mindset is also not much sustainable. The mindset which is behind our actions. So this crisis which we're seeing right now is actually telling us hey, humans, change your mindset, change your thinking. Don't see nature as something you should exploit. See nature as something which you should love and take care of and have a heart. And don't live in a world where you believe in competition and I have to get more and more. Live in a world of cooperation and sharing. And that's what nature is telling us and what's the crisis also telling to us. And that's, of course, a big thing for humanity to realize that. And it doesn't go within a short time. You know, sometimes it takes a generation to wake up to these facts and to these situations.
But do we have a generation to waste at this point in time? One of the leading environmentalists from Cambridge University has said that we're in a crisis right now, that we've surpassed 1.5 degrees Celsius, that this is going to cost humanity thousands of lives and trillions of dollars in damage. Like you mentioned with the Allianz in Germany, they're not going to be able to insure. I have children in California. Insurance companies are not covering homes anymore because of the forest fires that they're experiencing there. So it seems to me that we need to speed this up. And how do you change the mindset of nations like the United States based on capitalism, laissez-faire capitalism, where greed is good, as Gordon Gekko said in the movie Wall Street, and growth. We must grow. We must dominate. And this country is the second largest emitter of greenhouse gases, and we are on the wrong road right now toward creating renewable energy. How do we create that shift? How do we get people to change their mindset? And you have discussed with me, we spoke when you were in India about compassion, about meditation, about spirituality. How does that cycle into where we are today?
Well, if you see all the facts and analyze the situation, one understands in the current paradigm and the current speed also of our solutions which we apply or which we know about and not able to apply, we're in a dead-end road, likely. And we have to think outside of the box. And I'm a meditation practitioner since 40 years and joined the Brahma Kumaris also 40 years ago. And I understand more and more that the solution to heal the world lies inside myself. I actually have to heal first myself and my own emotions and my own feelings. Because I was at a science conference recently in Delhi, and it was the World Sustainable Development Congress, big platform. A lot of ministers spoke and top scientists around the world, and our sister Shivani, she's our motivational speaker. Some of you may know her. She said, "Don't think if you have stress that you can heal the world or you can have any impact. Don't think if you're angry that you have any impact and can heal the world. You have to first heal yourself and heal your heart, heal your emotions and your feelings, and become strong on the inside." She said, if you want to establish peace on earth, which is, I think everybody would love to do that, it's not enough that we talk about peace and strategies. You have to become peaceful yourself on the inside. And have you make your peace. You have to make peace with your own life, with your destiny, with your past, with your childhood, with your parents, with your friends. You have to transform your own inner little demons, and you have to think about your own traumas, which you have received in your childhood. And you have to deal with it. Everything comes up. You have to transform it, and you have to come at peace and at ease with your past and with your present. And you have to firmly root yourself in this emotion. And then when you are stable in peace, only then you can talk about peace and you can bring about peace to others. And then it will have a lasting effect. And isn't that an interesting concept? It's the idea of we have to walk our talk. So if I want to bring peace to the world, I have to become peaceful on the inside. I have to become an embodiment. And that's actually what that's the speciality of all our religious founders, of our prophets, of our saints. They were the embodiment of what they were talking. So from a spiritual viewpoint, it is essential and important that I start transforming myself, and whatever I would like to see happen in the world, I have to bring it on the inside first within me and make it strong and make it powerful. So if I want to bring peace, I need inner peace. If I want to clean the earth and want to make it a beautiful world, I have to make my inside clean and beautiful. So we have to ask ourselves, how can I bring inner transformation? What can I do? And interestingly, in science, there is a sort of avant-garde thinking now. It's not mainstream, but it's taking more and more ground, where they found out that our consciousness or our feeling and our emotions or consciousness is not a product of chemical reactions in our brain. Our consciousness exists independently from our brain. So this is a second fundamental understanding of spirituality, that we understand I'm not only this human being and this body, I'm also a spirit, a being of light, a being of peace. In India, it's called Atma, the spiritual principle. And Atma is our true self. In Christianity, we call it the soul, and it's always considered to be very, very essential. So if we understand that we're a being separate from this body, that our consciousness is immortal and it is light and it has all the good qualities and all the good values within, then we're able to have also the right understanding to bring that transformation process. So spirituality and spiritual understanding helped me personally a lot to bring inner transformation and to start cleaning up myself, and then helped me also to do 30 years solar projects in India. Imagine I come as a German to India and I say 1 + 1 is 2, and the Indian says maybe, you know. And I had my very wonderful experiences in India, but my spiritual journey helped me to stay focused and bridge the gap between my culture and the Indian culture. And I was able to get impact and got the ball rolling with renewable energies. So spirituality and a spiritual lifestyle is fundamental to bring strength, to bring transformation, so I can have impact. So when I talk about peace, people will be inspired, or they will think, he spoke about peace, but he radiated also some sort of atmosphere of peace. And this avant-garde science thinking, which I spoke about earlier, it's talking about that our consciousness all the time radiates energy into the atmosphere, creates a vibrational field around us. It's our aura, it's our energy field. And science found out that we all the time have an ultra weak energy field around us, which is now measurable. For example, since 20 years, we can measure it with different gadgets, bioscanners, Killerian photography, you name it. All the time we radiate an energy field. And science is telling us that this energy field communicates with all the atoms and all the energies around us. And by observing the world, we're actually shaping the world. So our inner world, our consciousness, our emotions and feelings, and what happens in the outer world, they are interconnected. there's a very profound connection between my consciousness, my feelings, what happens in the world, inner world, outer world. And the outer world, what happens there is a reflection what happens on the inner world. So pollution is a reflection of inner pollution. War, conflicts is a reflection of inner tension of us, which multiplies in collective human beings, creates an energy field and manifests. So the crisis we're seeing in the world right now, climate change, loss of biodiversity, economic crisis, conflicts, wars, is a spiritual crisis of all of us. So if I understand these fundamental spiritual principles, it gives me an immense and powerful tool to bring inner transformation and then bring outer transformation.
You spoke of science and scientific study about all of the different ways that we think, the way that we relate to our inner and outer world. But in the United States right now, we have a great deal of deniability when it comes to science. So if we're trying to project out this spirituality to a country that doubts science right now, how do we counter that? How do we fight back against this wave of no, science doesn't have it right, and we don't need the satellites in the sky to determine if we're going to see cyclones or not, or tornadoes. We don't fund the scientific mechanisms that can help us to survive and keep the planet somewhat stable.
Well, first of all, we don't fight back to the situation, which is because how we fight back, you asked the question, how we fight back. I wouldn't fight back. I would see the situation in the world as a sort of accelerator to increase my spiritual efforts and my transformation. The crisis we're seeing right now and the response to it, which is not adequate, as you mentioned. Some countries are doing a little bit more, some countries are doing a little bit less, but it doesn't actually really matter. The crisis we're seeing is a wake-up call for us humans to bring inner transformation. And the more the crisis deepens, the more we should understand I have to become faster, I have to become stronger, I have to become more determined in my spiritual efforts and bring that inner transformation. Because as I mentioned, science has found out that our consciousness is somehow connected to a higher field. They call it the quantum field. And from the quantum field, reality is being created. So we are observing the world. And whilst we're observing the world, we're shaping it all the time. Some scientists, they say, the world exists because we observe it.
Because what?
Because we observe it.
Mm.
And by observing it, we judge and we create all the time. And this is an incredible idea behind it. It's not totally new. Our forefathers were talking in a similar way, and they had a lot of regard for the power of prayer, because they all thought what you think when you pray, you create it. You create the energy field, and then it creates the field, and then it creates the reality. That's the power of good thoughts and good wishes. And they have a very profound impact. Whatever you think, it's not useless. It has a very profound impact, the good and the bad. So the idea is, in order to heal the self and then heal the world, that we develop a God consciousness of the divine, of the instinct goodness of all of us. Love, compassion, goodness, peace, sharing, all the good ideas, that we make them strong on the inside and then project them outside. And politics is coming and going. And politics is also caught up in a lot of demands. Politicians are not free nowadays. And we cannot expect from anybody outside to just come with a magic stick and solve the crisis of humanity. We're all sitting in the boat, and we're all part of that, what is happening. Because we're all, in spirituality, we all say we are travelers through time and space. and we are on a long journey. And somehow humanity has deviated from the path of righteousness, from the divine path, and we have lost connection to our ethic and value, to the roots, which are so fundamental for our existence. And the crisis we're seeing right now is a wake-up call for all of us to go back to our roots, to connect to the divine, to God, and bring the light back into us, the shine, the brightness back into us, and sort of start radiating that goodness and that light into society, inspire politicians, inspire scientists, inspire the people, inspire everybody for greatness. And once we understand these principles, we understand that we are not helpless in face of that crisis, but we can become a change maker for our own personal life, but also a change maker and a creator for the world and for the future. And this is a very wonderful idea to think about, that my thoughts are actually having an impact. Today in the morning, I shared that I do a new exercise in meditation. I repeat myself in meditation. I'm very good, I'm very good, I'm very good, I'm very good. I will achieve my goal, I will achieve my goal, I will achieve my goal. And then I have the idea, I become an angel, I become an angel, I become an angel. And once you repeat that 20, 30, 40 times, suddenly you feel a difference in your experience. And you repeat that often enough, and suddenly you can sense like things are going to change. The problem is, because of our fast and speedy world, we only have an attention span of 7 seconds. And you look in the train, when you see the people with a mobile phone, they're all like this: wish, 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 wish. And the younger we get, the faster we change this. You know, we old ones were a bit new. I mean, I'm grown up without mobile phone, luckily. You know, I remember in old days, it was like a telegram or a letter. You know, we sent postcards. I hope you remember the time. When I came to India, I was sending postcard. Now you're constantly tapping and WhatsApp. And, you know, this morning, 6 o'clock, I had a Zoom call with India, a kickoff meeting on renewable energy with 6 engineers. And I had to think on electrical diagrams. And I says, you do it. I trust you. And then I came up here and listened to the Murli and gave a class. You know, this is our crazy world, you know. So we lost the ability to concentrate longer on something. But if you do that effort and have a thought what you would like to achieve in your life, and you repeat it, you will see that after a short time, it becomes a reality, and it creates the energy field, and that energy field helps you to bring transformation. So this is one of my personal methods which I'm exploiting right now to bring inner transformation and send blessings and good wishes to all the people around the world, and also to all the politicians. I actually have a special routine in my meditation. I send love and compassion to all the good and the not so good politicians.
You mentioned that you joined the Brahma Kumari 40 years ago. So I would imagine that you have spoken to thousands of people, tens of thousands of people over the last 40 years, if you've been getting together with groups like this. Do you see progress being made on the things that you've just been speaking about? This connection between the inner and the outer world, our ability to look to the divine, the ability to create a different way of living. Are you seeing that progress?
Yeah, that's a very nice question. It's quite interesting, you know, sometimes you go through your life and you think, oh, everything is normal. And then you meet other spiritual people and you talk to them, you engage to them, and you're shocked about their smile, about their goodness. And you suddenly totally inspired. You say, wow, that person is so good. And he's such a good smile, and he's so lovely and so sweet, and that totally inspires me. So when I see goodness in people, when I see the shine in people, the brightness in people, that really, really inspires me. And over the years, I can sense a shift also in people, in awareness towards climate change, but also in awareness towards a spiritual solution. I remember when I came first to the United Nations Climate Conference, was 2009 in Copenhagen, was COP9 or something. Copenhagen was the first climate conference I attended. It was COP16 or something, 15. And so we were there, spiritual organization, and people came to us and said, what are you funny spiritual people doing here at the climate conference? I said, And they said, we have money. So these people told us, we have money and we have technology and we have strategy, and we fix that climate problem in no time. And so we thought like, ooh, okay. And now 20 years later, COP30, COP29 was in Baku. Now COP30 is coming up in Brazil. The same people come to us and say, oh, please help us. We're so frustrated. Money is not working, technology is not working, and strategy is not working. And please help us at what you are going to do, why you're so peaceful and why you're so smiling, why you are not frustrated like everybody else, why you are not stressed out like everybody else, and why you don't show any signs of anxiety, And so we said, okay, let's have some meditation and let's calm down on the inside. And let's have some reflection and let's have some positive thoughts, because we are meditation practitioners. And what meditation does, it helps you to have focused thoughts. It's like a journey based on your thoughts towards the light, towards peace, towards love and compassion, and bring that emotions and that experience right away into yourself. Bring that vibration into yourself and take a relaxation bath in that meditational experience. It's so soothing. And interestingly, since 2 climate conferences, we have a faith pavilion and we have official meditation conducted by the Brahma Kumaris. And they ask us, Brahma Kumaris, you please come, and you are responsible for the meditation at the faith pavilion. So we send our youngsters there, and they sit in the morning, 6:30, and half an hour meditation. And people come and they join, And so there's a shift in awareness, in understanding, and there is a vibrational shift on one side, the urgency of climate change, and not only climate change, of the crisis of civilization. It's not only climate change, it's a crisis of civilization. It's a global crisis of civilization we have right now. The urgency of that crisis is mounting. The signs are becoming more and more clear, but on the other side, the angels, the messengers of light, the messengers of goodness, they are growing, they become more, and they become stronger. And what we know of fairy tales, at the end, the good one will win. The light will prevail over the darkness. God will come, God will shine his light, everything will become good. And good, all good. That's how we say. And we in Brahma Kumaris, we believe that we are in a transformation to a new era. In India, it's called the Sat Yuga, the age of truth, which is very interesting. We're now in the age of untruth, and the age of truth is coming. And the Greek called it the Golden Age. We're now in the Iron Age. The Greek called it the Golden Age, which is very nice. Gold is very shiny metal. And Christians, they call it the paradise. So it's very wonderful that in our myth, we all have this journey, this concept, this idea of some good age, some new age is going to come. And we yogis, we're sitting there and we are all visualizing that beautiful world to come for all of us. A beautiful world of love, peace, of natural beauty and bounty, of clean air, no traffic, no cars, no mobile phone.
Good luck.
Oh yeah, no luck is necessary. And you know, and we visualize this world, and it's the understanding of the yogis that whatever you visualize, whatever you want to achieve, you create the energy field. And it is said that only 2% of a population are required to initiate a shift, a dramatic shift in society. 2%, they have the idea, they're firm, then they pull another 10%, and then the balance flips. Then everybody follows, everything changes. Revolution always started with very few people. And what we need is a spiritual shift, a spiritual revolution, a spiritual paradigm shift. And that's what we're witnessing right now. These are great times we're seeing right now. No need to be scared. Everything will become very, very good. And we are in a transition process. And we are masters of the inner change and masters of the outer change. It's the message of hope. And the most beautiful is God is there. The light is there. He's watching. He's fully aware what's going on. He's helping all of us, and he's sending a lot of light. We just actually have to open up the antennas, tune into God's frequency, into the divine frequency, and absorb the love and compassion of God, and just become like a lighthouse and lighthouse, and share it with each and everybody else, you know. And you always can see if a person is smiling and happy, you know. Smiling face is a good face. Smiling, happiness, shiny face, and you radiate that with the people. And that's all what we should do, you know. And then really the energy field will flip towards the good time. The light will come in a big way and chase away the darkness. And that's the very beautiful message. And that's actually what time is telling us right now, that we're in this epic battle between darkness and light, between evil and good, which has been foretold since thousands of years by all religions. And now humans are wondering, oops, what's going on right now? We are in this very beautiful, very exciting, very dramatic time period of human existence, where we come to the end of something old, which is not sustainable, which is not just, which is not so nice. You know, so much suffering on planet Earth right now, so many conflicts, you know, so much suffering also for nature. And we can become change makers. We can become the agent of change.
You spoke of Copenhagen. I worked a little bit on that media end of that. We called it Copenhagen for Copenhagen. And I'm just wondering, you mentioned 2% of the population. That's still a lot of people. 2% of 8 billion.
But look now how many people are here.
Right.
There are a lot of people online. And in India, the Brahma Kumaris has already, I would say, millions of followers.
Yeah.
And the spiritual message, we are not the only organization which is sort of going into this direction towards the light. So many hidden light workers are there. So many agents of gods are there. And you see where it is said that love is the most powerful emotion in the world, you know. And when you connect to God's love, you know, it is said where there is love, magic can happen. Where there's love, success is going to happen. And where there's love, transformation is going to happen. And you just connect to God's love. And I mean, God is the ocean of love. Imagine you're connecting to the ocean of love, of light, and you just become an instrument and let it flow through you into all corners of the world, you know. Then nothing is really impossible, you know. And God is adored by us over all ages because of this unlimited resources and abilities. He's just a bit hidden right now because he wants to give us the free will, you know. Everybody should have the same chances to sort of come close and become an instrument. But he's very much there, and I have full faith that the impossible will become possible. Nothing to worry, everything will become good. A very bright future is ahead of us.
Very optimistic. I will say that. How do we, as individuals in this room, collectively push forward some of the ideas that you've been talking about? You know, you mentioned the phone and the scrolling and everything. How can we utilize what technology and thinking we have to promote these ideas of peace and godliness and connectivity and cooperation?
I would say it's very, very important that we understand the importance of a regular meditation. And if you're not a regular meditator, then just do it in the morning for 5 minutes and in the evening for 5 minutes, where you sit in a quiet spot. Maybe you create a little quiet spot, maybe put on a candlelight, sit there, create calm thoughts, peaceful thoughts, connect to the divine, absorb love and compassion, and bring it within yourself. And the moment you start doing that and you're connecting to this stream of power, to this energy field, you can feel a change on the inside. Suddenly you start relax. First your body relaxes. You see, oh, wow, that's very nice. And if you're a bit more experienced and become sensitive, you can feel your energy field around you, your aura. You can feel how the light and the energy flows into yourself. And such, it's like a depleted battery is being put to the battery charger. And you gobble up the power and the electricity, and slowly you charge yourself on all levels. The body charges, each cell is charging, your aura is charging, and you're charging yourself and become radiant and charge yourself with love, peace, and compassion. And once you charge up a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening, then you slowly take the next step and you start healing yourself, changing yourself, bring the goodness into yourself, connect to your ethics, to your values. And then you start radiating out when you reach a certain level and you become an inspiration. You heal yourself and you become a healing to others, a healer to others. And then when you charge up a little bit more, you focus on nature and give love to the trees. You know, I was seeing a report on the, you know, there's this pumpkin competition, you know, who makes the biggest pumpkin in the world, you know. In England, there was this competition and the guy came with a 250-pound pumpkin. and the guy asked him, how did you create such a big pumpkins? And then the guy said, you know, I love my pumpkin every day. And I talk to my pumpkin. And I says, pumpkin, you're so good and you will grow and you'll become so big. You'll become the biggest pumpkin in UK. You see, pumpkin is growing. And you have plants at home, a garden. And sometimes you have a plant which is not doing so well and you talk to that plant. Huh? Here we are. Yeah, because plants and nature reacts. We have an interesting project in India called yogic farming. And we teach farmers to talk and meditate with the seeds and with the field. And we worked since 10 years with the agriculture university. We worked with 5,000 farmers and we worked with the university to sort of evaluate the results. And the results in a nutshell is you meditate, you have a positive mindset towards the seeds, towards the field, towards the water, which you use. And your yield is 20 to 30% better. And you don't need pesticides and you don't need fertilizer. And the results are so good that the Indian Ministry of Agriculture now wants to cooperate with Brahma Kumaris and is asking us to teach the farmers in India about yogic farming. And that's nothing else what the priests in old days in Christianity did. I remember in Germany in the 1950s, the priests went out in the field at Easter with holy water and sprinkled the fields. And says for a good harvest, for God's blessing, for good rain, for good crop, for everything. They gave blessing to nature. This was standard practice not long time ago. We simply have forgotten about these principles, how powerful our thoughts are, how powerful is the power of prayer. And once we wake up to that principle, everything becomes possible.
I have a plant at home. It's a beautiful plant. I don't even know what kind it is, but I brought it from California 30 years ago. and I talk to it. I tell it how beautiful it is. Sometimes I rub my hands on long leaves, and it's healthier and greener now than I ever remember.
Here you are.
But I wanted to get back to something we talked about earlier, which was the political dynamic. We supposed to,
I don't know.
right, okay. We can't depend on politicians to solve all our problems. It comes down to individuals.
Yes, it comes to me because if I point to somebody, at least 3 fingers are pointing back to me, you know. If I say, oh, this person should become more peaceful and he should become more environmental friendly, so many fingers are pointing back to me, you know. Am I peaceful? Am I environmental friendly? I mean, I'm at least riding an electrical bicycle in Mount Abu and I'm doing solar projects, but I also have my flaws, you know. I fly around the world, you know. I try to use train as much as possible. Unfortunately, no train from India to US. I had to take the plane. But I'm trying to be have personal integrity, what I'm talking about, you know, keep my consumption moderate. You know, we have 10 ways to save, we have 10 slogans to save the world. And one slogan is, one part of this is live simply.
Say that again.
Live simply.
Live simply. Yes.
Buy whatever you really need, share whatever is possible, and be modest in your requirements, you know? So I'm trying to go along that pathway and share. And you know, sometimes my brother gives me cloth and he's getting a bit more, you know, so I'm the recipient of many good quality cloth. So I'm saying, fine, it's good. And so living a simple life is a good life. Yeah. And we're getting carried away by the glitter of the world quite often. And you know, and the world simply cannot tolerate any longer overconsumption. And we in the West, we have an incredible high carbon footprint per person. There is a program in internet, it's called the Carbon Tracker. And you can put in your own personal lifestyle, how many computers, how many mobiles, how often you travel, how is your purchasing things, how many this and that. And it calculates approximately your carbon footprint. And we're having a European as a 1.15 tons per year, approximately carbon emissions for his lifestyle. An Indian has 1/10. An Indian person living in India has 1/10 of that carbon footprint. You know?
But it's growing though.
But per capita, per person, per capita.
Right.
I mean, there are 1.4 billion people, but per capita, they're approximately 1/10 of that water. And I mean, America is even more than the Europeans. You know?
But so as income rises and a larger middle class is formed, those people, let's say in China, for example, they become a very meat-eating society. They use more electricity. They're driving cars.
Well, they've tried to follow our example. So what I'm trying to say is a simple lifestyle is a good lifestyle, especially in our high developed civilizations. A modest lifestyle is a good lifestyle. Do whatever you have to do, but don't go excessive. That's what I'm trying to say. And then meditate on a regular basis and start bringing inner transformation, inner healing. And then you start reaching out, you know, then everything will become good. And then you will see also transformation after some time on a larger scale. And I can see in the world, there is awakening up now of people. And I can see that the attraction of the light and of the goodness becomes more and more strong. And I'm very, very hopeful that this will grow. The crisis will grow, but the light will grow and the light will prevail.
I just wanted to point out a few things I found when I was doing some research for tonight. Was in the New York Times today. It was an article that was entitled 50 Fixes for 50 States. So every day the Times is going to come out with different things that people are doing across the country to reduce our carbon footprint to get us to zero carbon. I just wanted to read off a few of them for you because it does come down to the individual. We can't expect Washington or President Trump or Narendra Modi or Vladimir Putin to solve all our problems, but living car free in Arizona, they actually built a city within Phoenix, not a city, a neighborhood within Phoenix where no cars are allowed. And they built it on the Greek model because it's so hot there in Phoenix, and it is hot in Greece. Every home is painted in white. Every home is solarized so that it creates its own energy, and no cars are allowed. People are there. It's growing so fast that people are demanding that more of these villages be built. They're in Colorado, they're building, and we are talking about biodiversity. They're building bridges and tunnels and funneling animals over highways, under highways, so they don't get killed by cars and people don't die in those kinds of accidents, which they do. And in Hawaii, for example, land that was totally decimated, polluted, invasive species, just an eyesore, an eyesore. People came in, they plowed it up, they got rid of the invasive species, they started planting gardens, they're holding ceremonies there, prayer ceremonies, and people are just personally being transformed by being involved in this process. It's something on the nature that you're doing in India with the solar projects.
We have also in India, we have a plastic-free program. So we're trying to get free of one-time usable plastic, throwaway plastic. And that's a very interesting project also because plastic is a real menace. And now microplastic is even airborne, and we're breathing it. It's in the ocean, it's in the soil.
It's in our brains now.
Yeah, it's in our brains now. So we have to do extra meditation to overcome the microplastic also. There's so many good activities which you can do, and it's very good to do good deeds. And it's equally important, or maybe even more important, to do a good, powerful meditation and sort of regular make your mindset firm in the light. And when you're rooted in the light, automatically your actions will become charged with light, and you select the right technology and the right idea. These technologies and ideas and concepts, they are out since a long time, since almost generations. Tree plantation is one of the most famous concepts, of restoring nature. It's out since hundreds of years, basically, And in India, they're now, and Brahma Kumaris has a huge tree plantation program called Kalpataru, and we have planted now 3 million trees all over the world. And it's based online. You can take a photo and you should water the tree also, not just plant it, also water it and see that it becomes big. And tree plantation is and I was at the religious conference in December in Delhi. It was a total fog, and all the religious groups came together, and they all have tree plantation programs, and they all plant trees, and some of them, they planted already 20, 30 million trees. So a lot of good ideas and concepts are there. But as I mentioned, it's equally important, if not more important, to support all this by powerful, loving vibration through meditation and inner transformation.
With that, it's a really good segue. Thank you so much. There are no words. Yes. Consumers too. It was incredible. You gave real points that I'm going to do that meditation for politicians. I used to be I'm a reformed politician, and I'm going to have to use that. That does work?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the first thing.
Just longer than 7 seconds.
Okay. and meditation. And thank you so much for your wonderful questions and just knowing how to pull that. It's great. Can you practice? Can we now practice what you, I don't want to use the word preach. Can you lead us in a meditation?
Yes.
So we can practice now together, community. Thank you.
Om Shanti. So let us all relax. Relax the body. Take a deep breath. Just clear our mind. Stop thoughts. Create stillness within. I am a being of light. I am a star. I'm sitting in the middle of my forehead. And I am peace and love. I am connecting to the Supreme Being, to the divine light. The light is coming to me. Peace is coming to me. Love is coming to me. It's reaching my forehead and slowly travels into my body. My body is at rest and is relaxed. I enjoy a peace. I enjoy the joy, power. I'm focusing my mind to my relatives, to my friends, to the politicians, scientists, the young and the old. I merge the whole of humanity. All people around this globe. I'm sending them love. Peace. I send them God's light. I send everybody inspiration for greatness. I'm now focusing my mind towards the animal kingdom. All animals on this planet. Sending love and light. Peace. I focus my attention towards the earth. Towards the forests, the water, and the air. Towards the planet which has come out of balance. Sending peace and purity to all the elements. May you come in order. I'm visualizing and holding planet Earth in my hands with all the people, all the conflicts, all the noise and the pollution. I'm sending peace, love, and purity to this planet. I'm sending light to the planet and bring transformation to the world. Earth is changing. Elements become pure again. A new age is starting. The age of truth. Satyuga. The golden age. Paradise. We're all there. It's a beautiful new world. It's a lovely atmosphere there. My body is shiny. Nature is shiny. The whole universe is shiny. It is our future. It is my vision which becomes reality. I absorb the energy. I send the energy into the world. I send the energy to all the souls. I heal myself. I heal the world. I change myself. I change the world. I become master of my destiny. I am at peace. Only is good. And the future will be even better. Memorize the energy and the atmosphere. I create a space within me. Whenever I want, I can come back and recharge. This is my true nature. Love, peace, and purity. That is me. Light. I'm slowly coming back and keep the atmosphere with me. Om Shanti.
Thank you both for giving us such good medicine tonight. And it even was sweet. I didn't need anything else to. I could swallow it and not need any sugar. It was excellent. Let's hear it again for our wonderful speakers. It was great. So please, I have just two quick announcements and please stay for blessing and Toli, which is sweet. We have good medicine for a healthy mind, healthy body, healthy planet. Thank you all for being here and Zoomers and our wonderful guests. And thank you, Eric, for always being the AV and May and the Supreme Being for his abundance that he gives us. Let us work and make that choice to be better stewards of that abundance. So one quick announcement, on Saturday and Sunday, on April 12th and 13th, there will be a Raja Yoga Shivir in Hindi, 2 days. You can sign up here. And we will see you next week. We're having another panel. It'll be more of a panel discussion. And thank you again for being here. And Zoomers, good night. And please stay for Toli and blessing. Thank you again. It's great. Thanks, Jean.